Alright guys, so today we're going to take a look at a pair that a lot of you have been suggesting that I check out. And the pair that I'm talking about is the TOZO Golden X1s. Now this is basically a high-end level earbud from a company that most people are not going to be familiar with. It's priced at $149, although right now on Amazon there is the little box you can check off, which brings these down to $134. For TOZO, that is a pretty pricey earbud. But before we get into all of the features and everything that kind of makes these stand out, I want to talk about the case and the earbuds themselves. Now, if you just look at the case on the outside, it kind of looks like a normal average case. There's nothing special here. On the back, you can see it has the USB-C input. Around on the front, it actually has a notification bar, which I like. But when you pop open the lid, this is one of those pairs that has the digital readout. You can see the actual percentage of what battery life is on the case, but also see how much battery life are left on the earbuds. And I do like this touch because I like the fact that they don't have it right on the front of the case. It doesn't look like it's trying to stand out as much as some other earbuds. And the earbuds themselves also are kind of unique. I mean, they look like they're intended to be actual earbuds, but they do have a slight stem. Now, I think this is to probably house some extra components, but it is also there to kind of maybe push the microphone a little bit closer to your mouth. And the extra components that I'm talking about is this pair is using a hybrid dynamic driver system where they're using a 12mm dynamic driver, which is a fairly large driver in a pair of earbuds that is not an open ear style earbud, but it is also using a balanced armature driver, a moving coil, and a moving iron. So there is a lot going on in each one of these earbuds, but all of that is to focus on the sound quality, which I'll talk about what makes this unique once we get to the sound quality. But some of the other things is it is IPX6 rated, so that's more than your standard IPX4 like some other noise canceling earbuds. So you're more protected against rain and sweat and splashes. But again, this is not a waterproof pair, so make sure you don't drop them into water. Now, this pair comes with 6 sets of silicone ear tips. That's important to make sure that you're getting the most out of the sound, but also out of the noise canceling as well. And then the charging cable that it comes with is a USB-C cable, but you don't have to use the charging cable because this case is also a Qi wireless charging case. So you could just come in, drop it on any wireless charger, and you're good to go. Now, moving over to some of the things that makes these stand out a little bit more, it is a high-res audio wireless certified earbud. It does support LDAC, which we're starting to see in a lot more brands, but it also supports what they're calling Origx or ORIGX. I don't actually know how you pronounce it. This is high quality sound that ranges from 12 hertz all the way up to 44.1 kilohertz. Now, this is very impressive, the frequency range that these are able to pick up. Now, this pair does work with TOZO's app, and again, like other budget earbuds, I wasn't expecting much out of the app, but from a design standpoint, it actually has a nice polished look to it. Now, it doesn't give you any special over-the-top features, but you do get control over different levels of noise canceling. You can switch it into your transparency mode. There's 16 different EQ settings, so there's a bunch that you can do there. Plus, you can go in and just kind of customize the EQ settings the way that you want. But this also allows you to keep your earbuds updated, which I do think is important in a pair like this, so if they can address something that may be an issue later. And then it also allows you to kind of switch around your controls. But luckily, the earbuds do use touch controls, and they do give you control over everything. But speaking of those different levels of noise canceling, I was actually impressed by the noise canceling on these earbuds. Now, I had it switched around to the different levels of noise canceling. They even have a wind reduction mode, so if you're outdoors, you can kind of block that out as well. But I found that on top of blocking out engine noises and AC units and things like that, it actually did a pretty decent job of blocking out people talking. Now, it also has what they call a leisure mode. You can go in and kind of take the slider in the noise canceling to have it adjust to how much you want to block out. So there are a lot of different things you can do with the noise canceling. But do know that the noise canceling is above most average earbuds, and the transparency mode on these actually is very good as well. In fact, it might be too good at times, because if you don't really have anything playing, you can definitely hear like the white noise and a lot of different things that those mics are picking up. So they are pretty sensitive in the transparency mode, so do keep that in mind. Also keep in mind, if you're using these with the noise canceling on or transparency, this will affect your battery life. Now, if you use these with the noise canceling off, you can actually get about 8 hours on the earbuds and about 30 hours using the case. While if you do use these with the noise canceling on, that is going to bring it down to 6 hours on the earbuds and about 24 hours using the case. Now, I did not see any information on fast charging, so I'm not sure that this pair has that. If I do find it, I will pin it as like the top comment so you guys can see that. So that is a little upsetting that it doesn't have fast charging, especially considering the noise canceling and the app and all of these other things that this pair does have. Now, it also does use Bluetooth 5.3, and it also has multi-point connection. So you can connect to more than one device at a time, and that makes it just easy to switch from one device. If you're, watching a movie on your tablet, somebody calls in, you can switch over without having to go in the settings and do all different kind of things just to take a call. But if you are going to use this pair for taking phone calls, I feel like the mics on here are pretty decent for that. I do feel like, my voice does sound artificial at times. It does do a very good job of blocking out my surroundings, but you guys can be a judge by listening to a test here. So here is the mic test using the X1s, and this is a pair I think has really decent mics. I think it sounds fairly natural, although it does have a little bit of digital noise, and it adds a little bit of warmth. But this is what it would sound like if you were to take a call. And so now here's the mic test with the crowd noise being played, which you can hear here. And so this is what it would sound like if you were to take a call in public. So now let's talk about the sound, because seeing high-res audio wireless on the box, and LDAC, and Aurajack's high-quality sound, I definitely expected a lot out of these, especially considering other people have pointed these out specifically because of their sound. And I was actually very impressed but confused, because out of the box, these were actually overly bright, which is not something that you see in a lot of earbuds. This is something I've seen in like the Status Between Pros, which I think is a pair of earbuds that has some of the best treble I've heard. Well, this pair kind of matches up with those when it comes to the treble. Same thing with the mids. You're hearing so much detail in vocalists. You're hearing a lot of detail when it comes to cymbals crashing, anything that has like that higher pitch tone. Where it lacks out of the box, though, is bass, and I think that's what's going to initially turn a lot of people off from these. But luckily, I went in and I adjusted some things in the EQ settings, and I really got these to sound pretty incredible. Now, I do want to point out, too, though, if you have the noise canceling on, it immediately boosts the bass in a way that I think at times can be a little too much. It can kind of muddy up the sound. So with noise canceling on, I had to dial the bass down a little bit, but with the noise canceling off, I had to boost the bass to get it to sound how I wanted it to. So this is definitely one of those pairs that you're going to have to go in and just mess around with EQ settings to get it to sound the way that you want. But luckily, it does respond to EQing very well. Now, when it comes to the soundstage and the sound imaging, again, this is kind of a tale of two different stories. If you have the noise canceling on, and again, it's because it boosts the bass the way that it does, it definitely closes in the sound. But with the noise canceling off, this is a very extremely open sounding earbud. I mean, it's very easy to tell where sounds are coming from. So I found myself using these most of the time with the noise canceling off, unless I really just needed to block out what was going on, because I preferred the sound on these with the noise canceling off. Again, this is going to come down to personal preference, because some people may want that overly boomy, bass-heavy sound, and they don't mind sacrificing some of the treble, or at least going into the app and having to boost the treble to try to balance it out a little bit. So my overall opinion is this. I do think it's kind of ballsy for a company like TOZO to kind of jump from the $40 to $50 range with their earbuds all the way up to $150. But I do get it. There is a lot more technology in these. There's multiple drivers, there's the moving coils and the iron. So it sounds a lot different than most earbuds out there. You can tell that there is a lot of focus on the sound quality. You are getting very good noise canceling. And so in this price range compared to like Sony or Bose, you are spending about half, but you're not missing out on features. You're getting Qi wireless charging. Having multi-point is a huge plus that we don't really even see in a lot of the more expensive brands. So there's a lot to like here, but I can understand hesitation from people that just don't know the brand. But if you're willing to take that risk and the fact that Amazon has a really good return policy, it's definitely worth checking out because I think a lot of people are going to be impressed with the sound quality that these have. But guys, that wraps up my video on the TOZO Golden X1s. Thank you so much for checking out this video. Thank you so much for checking out all the other videos. And as always, make sure to stay tuned for more.